Hello, how's it going, everybody? Chelbertson back with the one and only Greylich.
Yep.
Starting, we got Duoqueue live right now. We
Mics
are
are unmuted.
mics
Everything's
are,
ready to go.
yeah, we got about 25 minutes in and they were muted, so that's my
Just a
bad.
test run.
That's my bad. Yeah, we're just practicing, just running through it. I was too distracted. The Dallas Cowboys were Cowboy fans playing the Philadelphia Eagles, so was
Not just playing them, stomping them.
yes, they are. They're doing kicking butt right now. So that's awesome for us, not awesome for Eagles fans. So don't hate us.
Yeah.
Hate your team.
Hate your team. It's your team's fault,
It's
to
your
be
team's
honest
fault.
here.
To be fair, they have fumbled what 4 times. So
Something like
three.
that.
They fumbled 3 times. So not great. It's not good. You don't win games when you turn the ball over 3 times.
No,
Um,
not usually.
not usually. Well, we're going to quickly recap what we talked about in our 25 minutes. We spent about 20 of that on double lift. If you haven't heard, he is retiring. No longer going to be part of the LCS. Says it's for good. We'll
I
see.
believe it this time. I actually do believe it this
I
time.
do believe it too, but you never know. But he is no longer in the league. So we decided to see where he stacks up in our top 50. And as you can see, we put this is the basketball NBA's top 50 players. We put Faker, of course, GOAT. That's why he's on Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan,
And then I
best
think
league
we
player of all
settled
time.
on. Do we ever pick a number for double lift? I said 30 to 40 range. I don't know.
I agreed with 30 to 40 range.
I'm feeling 30. I think he's on the higher end of the 30 range.
I don't know if I'd put him on the higher end of that range. I'd
Okay.
put him lower.
Okay. Are you
Maybe like 36, 37 around there,
36,
but
37? So
we'd have to like
let's meet in the
fully
middle.
compile the 50 list to know where he stands, I
True.
think.
Which yeah, we will, and we'll create a like an actual list here. I think would be better than just a bunch of NBA players putting League of Legends players'
Here,
heads on top of.
I'll,
Um.
I'll throw out. We got number one.
Oh gosh.
Perfect.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
There you go.
There we go. Number one's Faker. Should we say
Number
30,
one,
33
Faker.
for now? Double lift.
I
Meet
guess
in
we
the middle.
can meet in the middle there. Just 33. Deal.
Okay. You don't even get the full name. He's just DL.
This deal. We know who it is.
we
That's
we
all that
do know who
matters.
it is. That's fair. So we'll take a player each week. We might get into some older names, some of the OGs, and see where we rank them, where we stack them up. I mean,
And
we're go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify a little of the criteria we're looking at
Yes, yes.
for this. At least personally, I'm going like over their entire career, the influence they had domestically, internationally,
Mhm.
um, just kind of looking at everything, which is why
Yes.
Faker is number one. He's been playing since season three.
Something like
I think
that.
he
Yeah.
he started in season three, won a world championship then, and just won another world championship in season 13.
Right.
Like
Like
it's
just
just crazy.
nobody. Well, and we discussed this earlier, but nobody has won more than 2 championships except for Faker. And
Yep.
even to win one is insanely freaking hard. We've had some. I mean, you look at JDG. You could argue JDG the last 2 years domestically has been one of the best rosters of all time.
Even internationally, I
Even
think.
internationally, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Like they go into the tournaments, they often go into the playoffs as favorites
Mhm.
and still haven't done it.
Right. So it's insanely hard to win a championship
Yep.
or even to win an MSI tournament. It's
They
crazy
did
hard.
win MSI.
They did win a
So they
match,
have won something.
but still, like it's insanely hard to win. Um, and the fact that Faker has done that 4 times is crazy. So,
Yeah.
um, definitely our goat personally. If you have anybody that you disagree with us, or if you have anybody that you want to see us rank, or you want to rank them, let us know, and we will put them on the list. But we do take what we decided: domestic, international, and
Well,
just their, I guess, longevity. I don't know if I
yeah,
would consider that, but
longevity,
like
adaptability,
adaptability,
mechanics,
yeah,
just success,
just the overall package, you know.
influence. I don't know what other words I can throw out there.
It's our ranking, so you can deal with it. And obviously we don't agree because I had a double lift a little bit higher, but that's fine.
I have
And
double lift
honestly,
lower.
double lift would have been much higher if he would have had any kind of international success. But
Yes, I think one of the things we agree on the 30 to the 40 range is domestically he's won. I think you said 8
yeah, eight
titles,
titles.
but he's never made it out of groups at Worlds.
No, and his last worlds he went 0-6, which I know that's
Okay,
recency
that's
bias, but
I mean recency bias. That was what 3 years ago.
true. But that was pretty rough to watch.
Oh, that was horrific.
It was, yeah.
That 0-6 run was horrific.
It's the 5 or 9 man sleep.
The 9-man sleep. That 0-6 run for everybody but Spica was absolutely terrible.
Which I guess we'll get into. But speaking of uh 9 man sleeps, we can talk about 8 man sleeps because we have an 8 team league now. That was a terrible transition.
That was a terrible transition,
We're
but yes,
rolling with it.
we're
Mics are unmuted. We're rolling. At this point, we're just gonna roll. Okay. You want to talk about our two long
our
lost teams here?
yeah. So like you said, we're down to an 8 league team from a 10 league team in the LCS.
Look at
Funnily enough, not the two worst teams are
this.
what
It's like a
left.
science
One of the teams
project.
was actually
One punch.
went
Easy
to
for
an
you and me.
international
But keep
went to one international tournament and an international qualifier and still dipped.
Yeah.
The Golden Guardians. And then EG as well was very competitive this year still, but they decided to sell their spot
Hmm.
or buy out, I guess. And so, yeah, well, I'm sad to see them go. I thought they were both good teams. They
I don't know if the
were willing.
worlds were great necessarily, because
The
I know,
teams they fielded were
yeah, I know
good.
EG
And
had their issues.
oh yeah, no, EG definitely had their issues, and Golden Guardians was never really great.
The Danny situation was not great.
No, that
Golden
one's still
Guardians
gonna.
would always have build a roster and then turn it over consistently.
Mhm.
So,
They did do that. I will say though, these were two of the teams that I felt were more willing to field native talent,
uh-huh.
and so kind of sucks to see that go. But I think it'll be good to have 8 teams since there's less players overall at the top tier.
Right. Yeah.
So more players are
All
going
of
to
them
be on more
have.
competitive teams.
Yep. Absolutely. Speaking of competitive teams, we might have a competitive team joining the league, Shopify Rebellion,
Hmm.
taking TSM spot. So,
Taking all of our content away.
yep. Good on TSM for selling their spot.
Before
Looks good for them right now that they were able to get that money before abandon ship.
they jumped off at the right time.
They did.
They sold it at the right time. So
Props to them. That's
first smart decision they've made in years.
yes. Yeah, for a while. It's been a while. um,
Uh, I'm excited to see what Shopify will do.
Hmm.
I we'll get into it next, but I'm not excited for the roster really, but
See, I kind of like their roster in some ways, and we'll talk about that. But they got some good pieces in there. So
I guess we
should
could talk about it now.
let's get into it. Let's just get into it. 100 Thieves roster, quite a bit of turnover. The only player that actually is staying is Quid from
Hmm.
last year. Up and down year for Quid overall, and they decided to build around him as their feature piece. So they're bringing Sniper up from the academy team.
Finally.
Finally, River is coming over from Golden Guardians. He's one of the few that survived the purge. Um, Meech is coming up from academy. I'm not sure which
I
team. We're about to look at
believe
this.
he
It
is from
is
Academy.
100 Thieves. Team Fish Taco. Or
Yeah, Team Fish
no,
Taco.
Disguise. It was Disguised Toast Team is the one that he's coming from, and then they switched to Team Fish
Team
Taco.
Fish Taco.
But I've heard that he was pretty nuts in the challenger scene. And then Ayla coming over from FlyQuest, right? No, he
Yes.
was EG.
Oh yeah. No, he was on
He
FlyQuest and
was
then
on
he went to
FlyQuest.
EG.
So going the young route, um, getting rid of, well, not getting rid of Double Lift. Double Lift retired, but someday Double Lift, that old guard is out and in with
Hmm.
the new young players. I am going to thumbs up this roster.
Okay, you're
Um,
gonna thumbs it up.
I'm gonna thumbs it up. I will probably put them middle of the pack for this split, but I think it's a good. You see what you have in your young talent with Sniper and Meech. Quid and River are that's Gory and River essentially. Um, just not really aggressive and not the people that are gonna carry your game.
Hmm.
But you don't. They're gonna support Meech and Sniper. You know. So I think it's a good chance for the young team to or young players to get a shot and
Okay.
see what you have.
Uh, I can see that. Uh, Personally, I think I'm actually gonna.
Ooh.
I'm more on the negative side on this one,
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
personally. Just because I feel like uh, we're just canceling each other out on that, I guess. But
Did I? Oh, I got rid of this. I thought I copied. Oh, I didn't paste. I copied, but I
um,
didn't paste. I'm struggling tonight.
yeah, apparently. I personally feel like the weakest link on 100 Thieves roster last year was Quid,
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
and building around Quid I think is questionable. What I do like about the roster is they've been building up Sniper for the last couple of years, and I'm excited to see him play.
Hmm.
Like you said, heard good things about Meech. Um, I'm not as sure about Ayla.
Yeah, it was a bit up and down for Ayla last year.
Hmm.
He had some good games. Had some.
He looked a lot better on EG than he did on FlyQuest, but
Yes.
still, I'm hesitant about him. And I feel like Closer versus River is they're really close in my opinion.
Hmm.
So
This is a
I
hard
feel
one
like
for me.
overall it's either a side to down
Yeah.
for me.
I'm just thinking long term. You get your young pieces and see what sticks. To me, this is what it feels like. Is you're throwing River. You can throw River out of the equation here. You kind of know what you have in River.
Mhm.
He's kind of that piece that you want to see if he can kind of glue the team together. But then you're kind of just throwing Sniper, Quid, Meech, Ayla at the wall, seeing what
See what
sticks.
happens.
Yeah, You see what sticks. Okay, maybe Sniper and Ayla are good. Meech and Quid don't work out. Okay, cool. Now we have two of our 5 pieces in place for the long term.
Yeah,
So I don't know. I'm optimistic that it'll work out. So we're split on that, and that's hey,
we are
that's
split
good.
on that one. I think we're gonna be in agreement on this next one personally, but Cloud9, I think, is just an upgrade.
Yes, absolutely.
You keep Jeez, you keep
Flagger.
Flagger up in the top side. You keep Fudge and Blabber.
Hmm.
Jojo Pune over Imenez, I think, is a huge upgrade.
Yep.
You keep Berserker, and I think Vulcan over Sven is also just an upgrade.
Hmm. You think that's an upgrade and not a side grade?
Uh, for support role, yes.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Sven has very clear weaknesses as a support.
Hmm.
Him on Enchanter, he was really good with Enchanters and like staying back, but if you want him to go in, if you want him to play Alistar or Rel or a lot of the things that you wanted this last split, he was a lot weaker on them.
Yeah.
So I think it is an upgrade.
Yeah. I'm in agreement with you. I think that's a good roster upgrade. Dignitas. Quite a few changes here.
Mhm.
3 of the 5 roles are changing. We got Rich staying with the team. XU is being um, upgraded from the Academy roster, I believe. Yes.
Yes.
Challengers, I guess, not Academy. Dove is coming over from LCK.
Hmm?
He was on. Actually, he was in China.
Yeah, he
He was
was.
on Live Sandbox a couple years ago, and then most
He's
recently
been
he was on
on
IG.
IG.
Yeah, and I don't even think he was starting for IG.
Uh,
I'm not sure. I'm looking up match history right now. Nope. Cryan was starting. He did get a couple games in. It looks like. Yeah, yeah, he did. But
Still,
that was in spring is when he was playing, and then Cryan took over. So Dove hasn't really played much, and I don't really know Dove personally, so I'm not gonna make any judgment there. I haven't really watched him play.
uh,
Um, and then Tomo staying, and then Isles. I don't know if you remember Isles. He was on
I-
Immortals at one point.
yes, Isles and Rays
Hmm.
back
So
in 2020, 2021.
yeah, something like that. What do you think of this roster here?
Um, this one's actually really hard.
Yeah.
Just I don't hate keeping Rich and bringing up XU.
Yeah, I think Rich is alright. I don't know if you're gonna get the top tier. I mean, it depends on with the top lane turnover, losing Revenge and Licorice, he might move up into top 3.
Hmm.
It's hard to judge
It's hard
that.
to say.
We'll have to see how Blippo impacts Sniper, Dokla,
Castle.
how those 4. We'll talk about Castle, but I don't know if Castle will do much. But to me, it's really like you got Fudge, Sniper, Dokla, Blippo, Impact, Rich. Those are kind of your top 6 that are competing for top 5.
Mhm.
So
That is true. Though, just gonna throw it out there since we have 8 teams, gonna be top 4 now.
that's true. You're right. You're right. Gotta
Shorten the list.
gotta shorten the list. Yep.
Um, so overall, what do you think?
I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. I was not a fan of. I thought Tomo was okay. I didn't think he was like anything special or crazy,
Mhm.
and I didn't like Isles when Isles was on Immortals. And I do like Rich and XU. I like that duo up there. But I mean, especially in the LCS, you need more than just a top jungle duo.
Yeah, you need a lot more than
You
just
need a
top
lot
jungle
more.
duo.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it a thumbs down. I think when you had Jensen, Santor, and Rich, you had something that you could build off of. And even Poom, I thought Poom was serviceable. And they kind of when you have those four that are serviceable to good, then it helps Tomo look good.
Hmm.
And I thought he was okay. So I think he'll
You
have
think
it.
it was
I
just
think
off
he'll,
of
yeah,
that?
I think he'll have a down year, and I think that the having that top side of the map will help, and they'll win some games off that. But you're not gonna
Mhm.
have much success.
Okay, I can see that. Um, the only thing, I think I'll agree. I think overall it's down to side at the best.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards side, but slightly down.
Yeah.
Like maybe like a 10% down. Which
All right.
how did they do? How did they do last year? I can't remember.
Dignitas, they did seventh in summer, looks like.
Yeah. So
So
I could see him fifth.
maybe.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. We can't decide right now. You want to take
um,
NRG, the easy one?
yeah, I can take NRG. I keeping almost the same roster: Dokla contracts, Palafox, FBI, and only changes who he coming in for Ignar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it's gonna be hard to say it's a better roster than the NA team that makes it out of groups into quarterfinals. Uh, but I do like the combo of FBI and Huhi when they were back on 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
They synergized really well, and so I do think it'll be good. I think it'll work out. And Huhi and Ignar had very similar play styles, so I don't see much issue there.
I
So
agree.
I think you've had a team that's been together for 2 years now, I think, almost.
Yes, I think they're. Yes, I
Or
think
at least the chop side's been together for 2 years.
two splits, right?
Two splits for the whole team, or one split with FBI.
Yeah, one split with FBI. Yeah, that's right.
Either way, though, they've had a lot of time to kind of figure out their
Right.
play style, how they want to play games,
I think
and
Huhi's an
uh,
easy slot in here.
exactly, I think he slots in perfectly with the play style.
And I might even you might even argue that Huhi gives them better direction here. Because I'm not sure. Like it's hard to know with what comms are like since we don't really get that much of a glimpse into it.
Hmm.
But I, we know who he is a very good macro shot caller. That's kind of his thing. Is he and he that's why Golden Guardians was super successful. And they even said it is that he would kind of
He,
guide the team. You know.
he called a lot of the shots.
Yes. And I feel like that's probably missing when you had Ignar in there is like Dokla contracts, Palafox all seem pretty passive people. Um, not someone that's gonna like take charge and make important decisions like that.
Mhm.
And then FBI, I mean, usually your AD carry isn't the one that's
You don't want your AE carry making
Right.
team decisions typically.
So I could see that being a slight upgrade there, and then maybe a slight downgrade in some of the play from the support position between Huhi and Ignar, just on certain champions,
Hmm.
like the engaged champions that Ignar's just so good at. So
Like yes, but then at the same time, who he is also
exactly,
really, I think, really well known for his engaged champions. Like last year, he had
his set
his
was
special
insane.
pocket picks with Set and Amumu, and
Yeah, and that's why I was like, maybe just slight downgrade, just because Ignar was so good at those champions.
oh, Ignar was very good. And one of the things that I do remember hearing though is Ignar is very vocal as well,
Yeah,
and his English is also really good. So like there wasn't a language barrier. He was vocal, so he does give direction. But I do like who he's slotting in here.
yeah.
So I
I
think
see.
it's overall an upgrade.
Yeah, I agree. So
It'll be hard to beat there this last year though.
yeah, it's gonna be hard, especially with this Cloud9 roster. Like
Oh yeah,
it's a very stacked roster that they're gonna be going up against.
that the Cloud9 roster is the NA super team.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely. Well,
or
let's talk about the NA unsuper team,
the NA
Immortals.
unsuper team.
So
So lose solo. You get Castle for solo, Armeo for Kenvi, Mask for Blulu. You keep tactical, and you bring in Ole
hmm
over treats. Uh, Personally,
which I will just say, Castle has been in um, LCK challengers for since 2020, and the last two splits he has been, or just the last split actually, he has been a substitute for challengers,
for
so he
KT,
hasn't even played for KT roster. Yes.
yeah, and Mask hasn't had. He's been the last year he was on Unicorns of Love,
hmm
the sexy edition Unicorns of Love. So I don't even think it's the main roster.
Yeah.
And then before that, he's been on Challengers for since 2020, I think, as well.
Yeah, he was a sub for KT challengers as well.
So they have played together.
He was also on Hanwha Life very briefly
Okay, yeah.
on there as a substitute, but
So not right and high there. I think Ole though is a good pickup.
hmm hmm
Armeo, while not having like the most like stellar standout career, actually stand I think would be better to say. He's always been solid when he comes in.
yeah.
Um, but overall, personally, I think it is upgrade
Oh,
because there's only 8 teams in the league. You can't do worse.
you know what? You're right. I'll stand with you then.
So that
And they can't
is
be 10th. It's not a 10th
you
place
can't
roster.
be ninth or 10th, which is what they got the last two splits. So
If Immortals was looking to not be a 9th, 10th place team, they did it.
they have done it.
They built the
They can.
roster.
This is at least an 8th place team right there.
You know, what'd be hilarious is if because I heard every team was offered the buyout opportunity.
Yeah,
If Immortals only didn't accept the deal after they had heard the other two teams had accepted it, just
just
so
so
they
they did.
couldn't be 10th.
That
And then after this one
would be
split,
so
they were
sad.
like, "All right, we're out."
Peace. That would be so sad.
It would be
Yeah,
very Immortals though.
it would be very Immortals. Sadly, um, I hope they do better than 8th. For real. I don't see it happening,
Yeah.
but I hope they do better.
I'm looking at these rosters. This looks like the 8th place roster. Unless Dignitas and 100 Thieves do not work out, or one of these other rosters.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4 teams I'm looking at for that obviously bottom half,
Yes, absolutely.
but especially just the last, I think they could all finish last.
Yeah.
So
All right. Let's go on to Team
Team
Liquid.
Liquid.
We got Impact coming back in the top lane.
Hmm.
We got T, jungler coming from Korea,
Yes, he was on.
OK Brion.
Yeah,
So
not exactly what you
Frederick
want,
Brion.
but
He's been there since 2020, and before that he was with Janair. So great. We APA is coming back. Um, surprising for me on that one.
and Yeon,
Yon, yep, and
Yeon.
YJJ is coming back. So, what are your thoughts on this Team Liquid roster?
Yeah, I'll be honest.
Yep, yep. I can see what you're grabbing. I agree.
Uh, TL did make it to Worlds,
They did.
which was
They
great.
did. They might make it this
They
year.
had a very disappointing run. I don't think they won any series.
They look good against T1.
They looked good against T1 because Pioshik had a massive game. He
Yes.
popped off. And then the rest of
Still
it was
does.
just kind of bad.
Yeah.
They lost a Gam.
They
Like
lost a game in a best of three.
freaking Gam in a best of 3.
It was not good. It was
It
ugly.
was not. It was bad.
It was real bad.
And still I think this is just a downgrade. I don't see this roster making it
No.
to Worlds,
Um,
to international play.
I mean,
So,
I do think Impact is an upgrade in the top lane, gives you more consistency,
I think Impact is good.
less throwing. I don't know T like at all, so I can't make a decision
It,
there.
it's hard to make a decision, and I mean, looking at um, OK Bros last couple of splits, they're in the 8th to ninth range.
Right.
So like they haven't been very good.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's because he was not good at shot calling or just the players just sucked
Mhm.
or what went wrong, but I'm not super excited for it.
Yeah. I'm not maybe this is just me because I've heard a lot of people love APA, but to me, I think he has some very clear weaknesses in his game.
Yeah.
Very punishable weaknesses, we'll say that. I think a lot of people have weaknesses in their game, but I think he has some very clear punishable weaknesses, and you saw it at Worlds that good teams were able to figure him out pretty quickly, pretty easily, and punish him. And
Yes.
he was a reason for a lot of their losses, in my opinion.
Yes.
So
Uh, just his champ pool is an issue in my opinion,
absolutely.
and like I think it's cool to have special pocket picks, but you got to be able to play meta stuff as well, or
Hmm.
else you just get pigeonholed. You pigeonhole your team into something,
Right.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not great.
Or you're losing bans and you're screwing over other lanes because you can't play or
You,
play into something.
yeah,
I think that was his big issue. I think he could play. It's kind of the summit double-edged sword that we had. Not as much this year, but when he was on Cloud9, he had like two champions he could play. He could play his Gnar, and his Gnar was absolutely disgusting.
his Gnar was.
And
You
then
had to ban his Gnar.
yeah, and then I think it was Aatrox was the other one, wasn't it?
um,
Am I remembering wrong?
shoot, I don't remember.
It's not the point anyway. The point is you can be really, really freaking good at one champ, and that's a strength in itself. But then being okay to bad at the other champs is a bigger hindrance and weakness, in my opinion.
Mhm.
And maybe he will improve his champ pool, but it really hurt them at the world championship. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Should we go into FlyQuest?
Yes, we can go into FlyQuest.
Completely redid their whole roster.
Yes, 100%. New roster, kept nobody. Um, I mean, I'm just gonna throw this on there because this is my personal opinion before we even talk about what we have.
Ooh. Okay. Well, I mean, compared to last year, yes, I agree with you. It is an upgrade. Um,
It's
it can't be
it's an
worse.
interesting thing.
It can't be
Like you look at
worse.
individual players, and I don't even know if I would say all of these are upgrades.
No, but you look at what they did in the summer split.
You, yeah, you look at what they did, and it's just like, yeah, no, it's really hard not to
Yeah.
have a better team than last year.
I mean, they finished ninth. Like that just blows my mind. They finished ninth place with Impact, Spica,
Ninth
Vic,
place.
Nocturnus, Golgan. After going third in spring playoffs and being one of the favorites.
Yeah, no, like when Golden Guardians beat them in spring playoffs, like that was huge.
Yeah.
It was huge for a good reason too, and just then summer they just fell apart, and it was
Yeah.
not.
It was
It
not
was
good.
unexpected, and I mean, looking at their old roster, this is a lot of the players I think are surprising. They don't have teams 'cause, like Prince and Vikla don't have teams.
Yeah. That's surprising to me. And Spica doesn't have a team.
Yeah,
That's really surprising to me.
that one's really surprising because I kind of put Speak on the same level as Blabber, or at least potential,
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
and he has no team.
Nope.
And I think there's several teams that would be better if they pick up Spica.
Yep.
Now, does Spica want to go to those teams? Maybe not.
Doubtful, but
So,
yeah, I definitely think this is an upgrade just because they can't get ninth. It falls in the Immortals category. It can get
hold
ninth.
on, the Immortals category has to do better than their last split.
But to be fair,
Sadly.
I feel like this is a one of my four that I could see. To me, this is the fourth place team.
Yeah, I could see that. This
Like
being
looking
fourth
at the
place team.
other seven rosters, I'm like, okay, it's not a top three, but it's not a bottom three. It's somewhere
Yeah,
in that middle. They're fourth, fifth. You know.
fourth, fifth place. I can agree with that, except for I can't find the third team in the top three, so I might actually put them top three
Well,
in that
I'm
three to
I'm
four range.
thinking. I mean, Cloud9 NRG. I would probably put Team Liquid above them, just because Impact Core JJ.
Like yes, but also top and support are kind of like the
But I also think Yon he's good enough to carry that team.
fair enough.
I don't know.
That's fair.
That one it's hit 3, 4, and 5. I definitely think are hit or miss.
Already, last eighth place. Well, okay, not eighth place, but eighth team.
We got Shopify Rebellion. We got Fake God coming back to LCS. Boogie coming back
Mhm.
to Shopify Rebellion, formerly TSM. Insanity,
Insanity.
B-Boy, Zazel. I'm gonna put this on there.
I'm gonna.
You know what? I'm agreeing with you. I changed my mind.
All right. Would you say this is an upgrade?
I, I am I'm middle on this one.
Okay.
I think it's an upgrade that you are letting Insanity play.
Oh, agreed. After last year, he
You're
was nuts.
keeping Boogie, who I thought was one of the better junglers in the league.
Hmm.
Um, Fake God, he's so hot and cold. I heard that he was doing really well in Academy though, or Challenger, sorry. So guess give him the chance. I don't really know B-Boy too well, and I liked Zazel when he was with Cloud9. I thought he was a pretty
Mhm.
good support. I thought he kind of got short end of the stick.
Yeah, I think he got short end of the stick, and so I think Zazel over time. B-Boy, I'm not super hot on.
Hmm.
Just his past, like he's older.
Hmm.
He's okay. He's 25, so he's not that old, but he's played on like Misfits. He's
Hmm.
spent the last like 3 years in Brazil and Latin America,
Yeah.
and not on the teams getting out of Brazil and Latin America,
Right. Yeah.
except for maybe Flamengo. I actually no, I don't think Flamengo did it in 2020. So that's where I'm not super hot on him. Uh, but I think overall it's an upgrade. I'm just not going to talk about Fake God. I am opinionated about him, so I won't touch that.
Hmm.
I think it's an upgrade though because it's not TSM. So
Oh, yeah. There we go. I agree with that. Anything
no,
that's not Reggie is an upgrade. Good.
just right off the bat, just better.
Yes. All right. Well, should we get in the LEC?
Do we want to? We kind of hinted at it just real fast, but like, where do we want to kind of rank them, or do we want to save that for another time?
I think we saved that. I think we
Okay,
save it.
I can agree to that.
I want some time to sit and stew on it and think about it. All right.
Alrighty.
Let's get into the
So
LEC.
LEC, these are more interesting.
Shout out to Sheep Esports for this graphic that we're
Oh yeah.
that we're stealing.
I
Thank you.
also the last
Oh
the
yes.
last teams are also from Sheep Esports. They
Yes.
have great stuff. Would
Good
recommend
content.
looking at their
Follow them on
stuff.
Twitter, X, whatever, and go to their website. They got good stuff. All right. Well, let's run quickly through these. BDS, we got Adam, Sheo, Nuke, Ice. That has been confirmed, and then Labrov.
Mhm. So BDS plus Ice.
BDS plus Ice. I'm gonna thumbs down this roster.
I am also gonna thumbs down the roster on this one.
You won through Crowny.
Crowny was huge. Even at
Crowny
Worlds,
was
I think
massive.
Crowny was one of their brightest spots. And I know the situation, at least from what I heard, they were trying to get a different player, and they essentially had that player, and then they didn't. And
Cardi.
so they kind of got shafted.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But still,
I think
like,
it's just a downgrade.
absolutely. Um, I'm glad we agree on that. Excel, we have Otawamne, Peach, Jackie's, Patrick Ignar.
Yeah.
How do you feel
So
about this roster?
I don't know much about Jackie's.
I do not either.
Um,
Looks like he's coming from an ERL.
yes, I believe he's coming from an ERL. So I this one is hard to say, but I think overall I would say it's an upgrade.
Okay. I might say a downgrade.
Yeah.
I felt like as good as Excel was, um, especially in the third split, the summer split,
Hmm.
I felt like Peaches especially kind of got figured out,
He did.
and just we'll have to see how Peach comes out and plays, but I don't know. I feel like you could have made a change there in the jungle and would have been in a better spot.
Yeah. No, I think you could have made a change in the jungle. I actually thought Abadage was. Okay, not just thinking he was what turned around XL because
Yeah,
first two splits XL
they
sucked.
were so bad.
They were so bad. It was just summer split where they brought it back and looked really really good, and that was because of Abadage.
Hmm.
I do think though that Ignar is just better than Limit.
See, I'm not quite sure on that. I don't know. We'll have to see Ignar on this team and see how he does. But
That is fair.
I have questions about Ignar still after, even though he had a great Worlds and LCS performance. I'm like, okay, was that more so the team around him, or was that Ignar? Because Ignar's been on some really bad teams and
He
has not
has.
looked
He
great.
has been on very bad teams, but he's also been on really good teams.
Yes, so I'm
Like,
like, I don't know if that's Ignar, if that's everything else. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, I see what you're going with.
All right. Fnatic. They're pretty much running it back. Minus Trimby.
Ex- yeah, June instead of
Bringing in the
Trimby.
Korean import, June, from
Hmm.
Kwangdong Freaks,
Hmm.
where he was the sub. It looks like.
Yeah, because I don't think he.
So
Yeah.
I.
Oh, okay. We're going for the same thing.
We're on the same thing.
I I feel like people underrate Trimby too much.
Yes, agreed. And I feel like people overrate Razork.
I actually think people overrate Humanoid.
I was gonna say Humanoid as well. I feel like both of them are overrated.
I
It makes that
personally
season
this
together.
uh personally in the first split of last year, I felt like I guess actually the first two splits, um, the reason Razork looked so bad was he was trying to do so much,
Hmm.
and he was trying to compensate for the rest of the team, which was playing like garbage,
Yeah.
which was Humanoid. Humanoid was not playing well. And then when they finally change the roster and bring in Oscar and in Noah and Trimby, he wasn't forced to try and make all the hero plays, and so
Right.
he was actually able to play the game.
Yeah.
That said, I I think Trimby just brings a lot to a team, and I just don't know too much about Jun. So
Yeah, that's kind of where I fall on this. I don't know. I thought Noah looked okay. He didn't have a great Worlds, in my opinion.
yeah,
Um, so it's hard to tell. And I know they're both Korean, so maybe that's why they brought in Jun. To kind of have that
uh,
connection.
the Korean synergy.
Right. So, G2, can we just
I
are you thumbs
I
up?
mean, can we even thumbs it up? It's the same team.
Yeah, I almost want to thumbs it down, but I'll thumbs it up just because they were clearly the best team coming out of Europe.
Oh
In
yeah,
Europe and coming to Worlds, they were the best Western team. They did
I think
fumble the
I
bag a
think
little bit at Worlds.
I think the only reason they didn't make it out of Swiss is they just really underestimated NRG.
Yes, yes.
Like, I don't think they actually prepared for NRG at all. I think they were
Preparing for Pro
focused on
Season.
something else.
Yeah.
Oh, and NRG was way more prepared for the series. I agree though. I think G2 is just clearly best was clearly best Western team, and I think even here is the best team in the LEC.
Yeah.
So,
All right, Heretics. I want to see where you're at with Heretics because I have some opinions about them.
you got opinions about them?
We got Wonder, Yankos, Perks, Flacked, Kaiser. So kind of
I
a
do.
G2 reunion almost.
Yes, I do think it's an upgrade just because Heretics last year, even though I think summer they got what like fourth.
I believe so. Something like that. I'll pull it up
I
real
think
quick.
that's just because Yankos. Yeah, they got fourth.
Yeah.
But that's just because Yankos was popping off.
He had a great summer.
He had a
Um,
fantastic summer. So,
I do think Wonder looks so good for Fnatic in that brief
yes,
playoff stint he had with them.
yeah.
And I think you put him with Yankos and Perks, that's just a deadly trio right there.
Like you said, it's the G2 reunion. There's a reason that G2, which had this top side, went to Worlds 2 years in a row.
Well, Perks wasn't in the mid lane, but
He wasn't in the mid lane the second year, but 2018 they still went to Worlds.
yes, you're right. But when they were
And
dominant G2, it was Caps. But
it was Caps in the mid lane, but like they went to Worlds, they made it out of groups
yeah,
with shoot, what was it? Hjarnan and Wadid in the bot lane,
yep.
who like played one champion.
hmm
If they didn't get Heimerdinger, then they were just screwed bot. I'm not even kidding about that. Like, you can go back and look. It was a mess. So, I think overall it's an upgrade.
I agree.
Could be a dumpster
The
fire, but
core.
we'll see.
We have Cabo top, Bow jungle, Seiken mid, Upset
Mhm.
bot, Targamas support, and Yamato coach. And I'm only bringing up coaches because if you look at
Because it's
Yamato's
Yamato.
track history, it's pretty dang good.
Yes.
So
It,
I will trust Yamato to get the most out of Bow especially. Um, and I mean, you saw when he was with Fnatic, the teams that he had. He was because that was the Adam Bwipo Niski
yeah,
Bean Hillising. Well, it was Upset
yeah.
Nick and Bean. But I mean, like they got second.
With that roster, they got second. Like
Yeah.
Yamato is a fantastic coach. Just to clarify, this is Yamato canon.
Yes. Sorry.
There are other Yamatos, but I think
Yeah.
anytime anybody says Yamato, they think Yamato canon. So I think overall it is. I think it's an upgrade. I'm actually really excited about this roster.
hmm
I feel like this might be what we expected from Vitality all year this last year.
Yeah.
So I think we will see it because I think Bo and Upset
I think that's a
might
good pairing right
be
there.
best in their roles, or in contention at least for best in their
Yeah.
roles.
Absolutely.
So.
I agree. Mad Lions. Man. So they went with the full Spanish lineup.
The full Spanish lineup.
Full Spanish lineup, and I completely agree. This is what the freak is this roster?
He just.
I don't
I
even want to
hope what
say the
happened is
names because I don't know who it
Karzi and
was.
Hillising wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And not Mad Lighting to get rid of Karzi Hillising because I know last year I was like, oh, they're going to be hot or cold, but like, man, they were hot
Yeah.
like all year. They were good.
Oh, they had a great year.
So
Yeah, I don't think this roster is gonna quite do well. I this might be a 10th place roster, depending on how these ERL. It's always hard in the LEC how ERL talent is gonna shape up. Sometimes it's like the best player in their position. Sometimes it's the worst player in the position.
sometimes it's both.
Yeah, yeah. So be interesting to see how it shapes up, but I just don't know what they're thinking with this roster.
I just have a lot of questions on some of their moves. Like I mentioned Karzi and Hillising, but also Niski.
Yeah.
Like I
It almost feels like
domestically Niski is like always a top 3 mid laner.
almost feels like El Yoya, because I heard that Mad Lions had some pretty rough synergy issues.
Yeah. So maybe they
They
just
didn't
wanted
get
to
along.
build around Elioya.
Yeah, maybe El Yoyo was like, hey, either it's them or me kind of thing. So
Mhm.
they stuck with El Yoyo.
Maybe that's what it is.
I'm not sure.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Okay. SK Gaming got Irrelevant staying in the top lane.
Mhm.
Isma is coming from Marcoon. Not sure where he's coming from. Niski has
I
kicked DOS.
believe Isma is
Another ERL.
ERL.
Yeah, that's most of LEC. Yeah, and I agree with you. Upgrade. You get
Yeah,
Niski on a team. Niski's proven that he is one of the best mid laners.
yeah. Isma is from, I believe this is from Movie Star Writers, which I believe is Spanish team, one of the Spanish
Yeah.
leagues. But yeah, no, I think just while losing Marcoon sucks,
Yeah.
because I think Marcoon is a fantastic jungler, and I don't know about Isma. I think just Niski is better than Certus.
Yes. I agree. Niski he's proven that he's a top player.
Mhm. Up until international.
Yeah, yeah. Once he gets into, I mean, his worlds wasn't terrible.
I don't ever.
He
I
played
feel like he
decent.
gets too much flack for his international support.
Yeah,
Not his supports, but his international performances. But domestically, he's always good.
yeah.
So
Vitality. This is an interesting roster. They had quite a few changes here.
mhm,
Uh, minus Photon. Photon staying up in the top lane. Douglas,
mhm.
VTO, Karzi, Hillisang, and then Coach Mac is coming from Mad Lions.
Yeah. So I guess Mac just took his bot lane and brought him over to Vitality.
And that's why I'm
And
thumbsing him.
technically, Douglas is also kept from last year
Yeah. Because
because he played the last half of the split, I think.
I'm thumbsing this up because you look at uh Karzi, Mad Lions Karzi to uh Vitality. What was he? He was on Vitality, wasn't he? For
Yeah,
like
he was on Vitality.
for I think it was like two splits, and then he went
Hmm
back to Mad Lions.
hmm
Karzi on Mad Lions Karzi was nuts,
Yes.
like MVP candidate.
Vitality Karzi was not
Oh
good.
my gosh, yeah. And you look at Hillisang. Hillisang was so hot and cold on which Hillisang was going to play that game. But with Mad Lions
Yeah.
last year, like he was pretty dang good.
They made a great pair.
Yes. And I think a
So
lot of that is coaching. Like Max just proven that he is a great coach.
oh yeah. He is
So if anybody can get VTO Karji Hillisang and Photon to be a great team, it's Mac.
yeah. I can agree to that. No, that speaks nothing on individual talent as well, because like VTO, Karzi, and Hillising are all good players,
Yes. Yeah.
and
Tons
Photon.
of
Photon and
players.
Douglas are also good players. I'm not bringing them
Right.
down. It's just VTO's been an MVP candidate before. Well,
Hmm.
he was
He
MVP.
was.
Karzi was an MVP candidate. Hilliseng's just always been Hilliseng.
Right.
There's a reason he's been kept around for so long.
Yep.
So I agree with. I think it's a good roster.
We're agreeing way too much on these LEC.
You say that, but we agreed on the LCS. There's only one that we disagreed on out
That's
of
true.
eight.
That's true. All right,
All right,
Rogue.
Rogue.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we got Shiginda staying in the top lane. Oh, also Koi is changing to Rogue, back to Rogue.
Yes.
Marcoon in the jungle now. Larson mid comp, and then Zoiles is replacing Advian. And to me,
Mhm.
that's the big upgrade. Advian was pretty bad.
Yeah,
He struggled a lot.
he struggled a lot, and I don't know much about Zoelis, however you say his name,
I think it's
but
Zoiles.
Zoelis, whatever it is, I don't know too much about him, but I wasn't impressed this last year for Advian. Uh, to me personally, though, the big upgrade is Marcoon for Malring.
Yeah, Malrang. Look, his
His
style.
playstyle was figured out.
Yeah, it worked for a year, two
Mhm.
splits, and then it just got figured out.
It got figured out, and Marcoon, I think, is just he's proven that he was a good jungler because
Hmm.
he was playing. He was the reason SK looked so good last year.
Yeah.
I think him and Irrelevant. So
Yep. Absolutely. All right.
overall, though, like I mean, look at this. Like most of these are actually good changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, I think they, for the most part, these roster they made good changes. Now, whether
I'm
those
surprised.
changes actually happen, we'll see.
I'm
Never
surprised.
know.
I thought it was gonna be more negative for LCS, especially.
Well, we have two
I'll be honest.
we have two less teams, so
That's true. I guess if you take two of these, the Immortals and
yeah,
Shopify, and I guess FlyQuest as well, but
yeah.
those were
Uh,
easy upgrades.
right, all right. Let's talk about a couple LCK teams.
Hmm.
Just some interesting rosters that we saw. So Gen G, they are gonna have Keen in the top lane, Canyon jungle, Chovy mid, keeping Pays, and then Lehen's bot. I'm not gonna thumbs up or thumbs down this. I just thought it was really interesting
Okay.
because this roster is either gonna dominate or they're not gonna work together at all and they're gonna suck.
Agreed. I think just going like across the board, I think Keen is better than Doran.
Oh, absolutely. Keen to me was probably the best top laner from coming from the LCK, even over Zeus. Zeus outplayed him in the tournament at Worlds,
Mhm.
but going into Worlds, Keen looked crazy dominant.
Yeah, he was really good. Um, I think Canyon better than Peanut.
Uh,
Different play.
yes, absolutely.
Or if they don't break and they somehow just pull out like the best MVP performances of their lives.
Right, yeah.
So we will see what happens. Uh,
I guess
n-
we can.
I, I,
Well, we could thumbs up, thumbs down it, because it's so hit or miss, in my opinion.
it's very hit or miss, but I think honestly for all four of these rosters, the reason we picked them out because I think overall they're good changes,
Yeah,
at least for me. Okay, not all of them are technically
not all.
changes
Yeah,
because T1 no changes, running back, but running back your world championship team is never a bad idea.
or is it? Because how many world championship teams end up making it back to the world championship the following year?
Um,
Not a lot.
I think only one has made it to the world finals back to
See,
back,
it's usually not a lot.
and I think that was. I mean, obviously it was SKT, but
Right. Yeah, they've won back
I
to
think
back,
that was
but
2015, 20. No, it wasn't 2015, 2016. I think it was the 16 to 17 was the same roster.
hmm
I'll have to look that up.
that's my only concern with this roster is uh one which T1 is going to show up because they did have some obvious weaknesses that they showed.
Hmm.
Um, and are they going to become complacent? Because I feel like a lot of teams that win worlds becomes complacent. Like
That is
we
true.
saw it with FPX when they won their world championship. We were like, oh my gosh, like they're gonna be good for such a long time.
Oh, and they fell apart.
Because we had, I'm trying to remember who was on that roster, but I
For
mean,
FPX,
yeah,
I mean, you had Crisp. Crisp made it back
right,
4 years later.
yes, 4 years later it was different.
Doin B. I think Doin B is
Doing
still still a top mid.
Yep.
Um,
Where are the teams? Why can't I see the
Tien is still, in my opinion, really good. Shoot, who was
Oh,
their
there we
AD
go. Okay,
carry?
I found.
Was it LWX?
Yep, it was LWX, and
Okay.
yep, Tien, and then Gimgoon,
Oh yeah, Gimgoon.
Gimgoon. But like, I mean, you thought Tien doing beat LWX Crisp, like they keep that together, they're gonna be dominant for a long time,
And then
and
they were
it
not.
was not at all. I mean, you thought the same
No.
thing with IG with the Shine rookie.
Yeah.
It was nobody's gonna ever stop this team.
To be fair for IG, they were favorites to win MSI,
True.
the next MSI.
Well,
So
yes. So I don't know.
I can agree with that. Obviously,
I'm gonna
we'll have to
say
see what happens.
I'm gonna thumbs up it. Just I don't know.
Yeah,
I like the roster. I like the players.
I love the roster. I think keeping it was the right idea.
I think their play styles fit really well together.
Hmm.
Hanwha Life.
Hanwha.
Interesting, Ross. Basically, a Genji Hanwha Life mix.
Yeah,
We got Doran in the top lane, Peanut jungle, Zeka mid, Viper 80 carry, and then Delight is coming in as support.
yeah. So they kept their mid bot and then brought in Genji's uh the rest of Genji.
I am gonna. I like this roster.
Okay.
I think Peanut is underrated. If you look at his
Yes.
history, he's one of the best junglers of all time, you could argue,
Yes.
especially internationally. And I think him and Zeka, their playstyle actually works really well together. You have a good weak side top laner, Doran, who's gonna kind of not gonna int, but he's not gonna carry a game.
Hmm.
And then you have Viper Delight, and you have Peanut and Zeka that will absolutely play for bot side.
No, I think overall I agree. I think this is an upgrade. The only thing I think overall is a downgrade is top lane. I do like Kingen
Yeah.
over Doran. But like you said, Doran is a good tank weak side player.
Hmm.
And when you have Zeka and Viper and Delight on the bot side, then you're not looking to play top side as
Yeah.
much. At
Which
the
I mean,
same time, though, I think Kingen was a great weak side player on DRX when they
absolutely.
weren't playing to him.
Well, and that's why I kind of like you look at the DRX lineup that won Worlds. You had Kingen, Pioshik, Zeka, Deft, Barrel.
Mhm.
This is basically the exact same playstyle roster.
Yeah,
It's just
except
different names. And
Pioshik was a lot more aggressive than Peanut, I think.
yes, yeah, absolutely. So
No.
I think it'll be interesting to see how that works out, how that shapes up.
Mhm. I do see this team making worlds.
Oh, absolutely, I agree.
So, all right,
Last
KT.
one. Yep.
Speaking of DRX, we
Yeah.
have 3 of the DRX players on this team here. So, I mean, KT blew up their entire roster except for BDD. They got rid of Keen for Perfect.
Was the
Pioshik.
Challenger top laner, right?
Yes, I believe this is his first split. Um,
Let's see here.
yes. I guess technically not because he's subbed in 2022 for KT, but he's been playing on their challenger for the last couple years. Now they're bringing him up. Big shoes to fill for Keen
Absolutely.
because,
Yeah.
like you said, Keen is one of the best top laners from the LCK. Pioshik going back over to Korea. See how that goes. Then Deft and Barrel. They did work really well together on DRX.
They
So
did, yes.
we'll see how that goes. But I don't know if I would say it's an upgrade over aiming in Lahens.
Yeah. I'm gonna probably say this is overall a downgrade, personally.
I, I, I think personally I would put this as a like
That's what
a
I want to
side
do,
grade.
but I'm trying to be
You're
decisive
trying to be
here.
decisive for once.
So I put it as a downgrade because I mean you're losing the best top laner, one of the best top laners.
Okay.
Perfect. We don't know how he's gonna look. I think Cuz to Pioshik is potential side grade to downgrade.
Okay.
Depends on which Pioshik comes back. I feel like most boomerangers, the Korean players that go to NA and then come back, uh, usually
Don't have
don't
a
have
great
a
time.
right. Usually don't have a good return. BDD is amazing, and
BDD is very good.
Deft and Barrel are really good, but they are older.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how they are. I'm just gonna say downgrade because, I mean, that KT roster was insanely good. They should have won the summer split.
Yeah. I will join you on being decisive, but I will actually say it's an upgrade.
Okay.
Just
Just to be different.
no, not just to be different, but um, if we're looking, Barrel is, in my opinion, he's one of the players that is like the most polarizing, and like he'll warp an entire team's play style.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking at players that it works really well to warp the play style, BDD and Pioshik, I think, are really good
Yeah.
for this.
I
And
can see that.
so I think that right there is just going to be. It was a good pairing on DRX with Pioshik, and I think BDD is a good slot to put in as well.
Yeah. I agree.
So,
All right.
so yeah, overall a positive episode.
Ah,
Now that
yeah.
TSM is out, everything's looking great.
We're overly positive today. Anything else that you want to add?
Uh, no, I'm excited to see what this next year holds. I'm sure we'll talk about it another time, but there's been quite a few changes to the game,
Yeah.
and it'll be interesting to see how that affects pro play. If we get
Yes.
some
We'll definitely do an episode about that.
Shelly drifting in pro play, it'll be a fun time. I don't know if we actually will, but we'll see what happens on that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys.